Welcome back. Now, the issue of housing in Namibia remains a very complex and contentious subject. With the recent hike of interest rates by the Bank of Namibia during February 2023, the pressure on homeowners is becoming ever more acute as inflation continues to soar. Concurrently, the demand for affordable housing and land in cities, towns and settlements by citizens has exhausted supply. As is clear from previous research, the existing formal housing market does not readily cater to a majority of Namibians by virtue of the income level. Thus, TKO Investment, along with its stakeholders, will host a panel discussion on the increasing interest rate at Tikwen Restaurant tomorrow. For details on this, I'm joined by the Executive Director of TKO Investment, Elize Dausab. Elize, good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Good evening, madam. Thank you.
Elize, talk to us about the impact of this increasing interest rate on the housing sector.
Basically, I will be speaking from the background of being a developer in the affordable housing market sector. And what we have seen since last year up to now is that it has become impossible for new homeowners to qualify to buy houses. Although the subsidy that the government is giving to uniform officers will be increasingly high once they approach the commercial banks and those other institutions that have made housing loans available, the individuals then qualify very low in order to acquire a house. And then again, we have seen from people entering our offices that those that have owned houses already right now is looking at getting rid of their properties because of the increment in installments towards their bonds. So basically what happens is that commodities, the basket of commodities of necessities, which shelter is one of them, in which sector which we are falling, is becoming unapproachable. Unapproachable in the sense that if you own a house, your installment has overnight gone from, let's say, for instance, it was 3,000, then it becomes all of a sudden it's 4, 5, 6,000 that you have not budgeted for. And as a result of that, the quality of life for homeowners, the ones that owns, the ones that wants to buy, that has been compromised. So in pursuit of Tikwen Investments in Restaurant, as part of their social responsibilities, is always once a month hosting this kind of open panel discussions, whereby we are bringing the general public on the floor together with legislators, which are then rubber stamping whatever is happening to us, and we just have to accept it. But then we make it possible that this homeowners or this individuals, which is at the end of the, which are the end users, then gets to engage the legislators to say, but look, we understand that it's national or that it's even international, but however, this is the challenges that we are facing. Either we have to lose our shelter, or either we have to forfeit other basic needs that has to come to the family, or we can't afford a house at all. So it is from this background that Tikwen Investment is getting involved to be a voice for those voiceless ones, which is suffering at the hands of interest rates.
Help us understand exactly how current and new homeowners would be affected by this interest rate.
The question again, madam?
My question was if you could help us understand exactly how current as well as new homeowners would be affected by this interest rate.
I'm not a financial expert, so I will not be answering maybe as accurate as you want. However, I am the host for this show, whereby myself, is the layman on the street together with other homeowners and the ones that are still pursuing houses would want to understand what exactly is happening. But what I can answer is also as a homeowner is that with the interest rate, our current installments have increased tremendously because they were subjected to interest rate changes. And the homeowners that are knocking on our doors to buy houses can currently not afford these houses because all of a sudden the installment will be too high that you would be considering, should I buy a house now or not? Or the qualifying amount will not be sufficient for you to get a property on the market.
Elize, what are the solutions to this current problem?
Once again, why we're having this open panel discussion is so that we could bring our challenges into the housing industry, or as homeowners or as Namibians without which are owning houses or which are looking for houses. We would bring our challenges to the legislators so that the legislators can probably understand the impact of the decisions that they are taking on higher level, how this is affecting us. Obviously, as a Namibian and also as someone that has been pursuing in the fight for housing in the country, I have my own opinions and possibly initiatives on how exactly we can address this housing problem that we are currently facing. Because there are two scenarios. One is that the seller, which is selling the house, would be forced to sell his or her property beneath market value just because they need this property to be sold, and the person behind that, at the other side, the buyer, would not have sufficient funds. Or at the end of the day, we might end up not having houses. Or us, the developers, again, has to come up with initiatives whereby we are bringing to the table cheaper properties. But cheaper properties, then again, is not the answer because the material are again costing an arm and a leg from what it used to be. So the solution we don't have. We can only say we have initiatives, but these initiatives again needs to be listened to by the legislators and maybe bought into in order for us to then be able to supply not affordable but low cost houses as such to the public. Because market related pricing houses at this moment is not unaffordable, but people just don't qualify. We Namibians don't qualify in order to buy a proper house. So the solutions are there, but what we are wishing for is to get the engagement of the legislators, of the commercial banks and so forth, all entities that are currently offering what we call the only solution that is out there, which is to take out a loan for a house. So if all the stakeholders can engage with us developers and also the end users to see how exactly is it that they could probably regulate this interest rates from going up to accommodate what people can afford against what they are earning. So the solutions are not with me. We have the initiatives and we are wishing to engage tomorrow at this talk show with the relevant stakeholders, which are in decision-making power, which is at the end affecting us end users negatively.
In conclusion, Elize, in relation to this panel discussion that you'll be hosting, what do you aim to achieve?
What I aim to achieve is to be a voice, to create the platform for the low income, the middle income, and the unemployed Namibians that needs houses, because housing is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So it's just one of those things that is in the budget, that is in the basket of necessities that one needs to live from. So what I'm trying to achieve is to create a platform whereby stakeholders can listen to us, can engage, can see the challenges, and probably after they do what they have to do to rubber stamp the interest rates, the inflations, you name it, everything that goes against ordinary Namibians to have quality of life, a meaningful life. So the engagement, if it's fruitful and if all the parties sees the need and are obligated by their responsibility to Namibian nation to come out to this platform and to hear us, hear the cry of the people, why they can't have houses, why they are forced to sell their houses or even resign from their jobs in order not to default on their houses but to lose these houses. And just maybe also to start looking at ways how they can regulate the interest rate, which is which is involved in the whole buying of house act. Because not only is it not affordable, not only is it we can't qualify, but it also happens that once you buy a house, you have to repay for 20, 30 years. And we have evidence that once your installment is 30,000, only 26,000 goes only to interest rates. And then the 4,000 goes to the capital debt. So I think it's about time that we should be heard, because I'm not the only homeowner. There are so many more that is buying a house for 200,000, but that has to pay for 20 years. Now, if you do your mathematics, after 20 years, you've paid almost 800,000 against the debt of 200. So what we are planning to achieve and what we are wishing to achieve is for the voiceless to be given the opportunity to meet, rub shoulders with the legislators, give their challenges, and maybe when they go back to the comfort zone of their comfortable offices, for them to know what exactly is going on into the communities, why the gap between the rich and poor can close, because the debt is just making us poorer by the day. If you put Namibia in a framework of a cake, more than 60% is poor. It's the people in informal settlements, it's the people in rural areas, and everybody has a right to decent living, which is a comfortable shelter of a house above their head. So what we want to achieve is just to engage, just to be listened to, and maybe in the long run for solutions to come that will be in favor of the previously disadvantaged Namibians.
Elize Dausab, thank you so much for joining us. All the best with the engagement plan.
Thank you very much and have a good evening.
That was Executive Director of Tico Investments speaking to us there, Elize Dausab. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.